Now, the meatiest, goriest, most energetic and fun version. That's just one critic's description of the new version of Dracula, which has been made by the BBC and Netflix.
He's a very persuasive man, the Count.
He's a monster.
One might almost say seductive.
This is devilry. It's worse than that. It is the devil.
You have no idea.
Oh, I can't wait to watch the last one. The miniseries was written and created by Stephen Moffat and Mark Gatiss, the duo behind the award-winning Sherlock, and it comes to a conclusion tonight. So let's hear from the man who describes himself as Dracula's #1 fan, Charles Butler. Charles, what did you make of it?
I loved the first episode. I thought that was great.
I can hear a great big butt coming.
A bit convoluted, obviously, but last night's was a bit of a disappointment.
Why?
Because what he's actually done is taken small segments of the novel and he's expanded them into three episodes. I can't think what he's going to use tonight for the modern day interpretation that seems to be aimed at us. But he's taken the Demeter shot from last night and really reworked all that. And it took this what really amounts to about 3 pages with Sister Agatha in the novel, and he's really put a full story around that, which I thought was very impressive. That first episode was really impressive, and unfortunately, it dropped that tone for me last night with the Demeter section.
Sister Agatha has been a huge hit amongst the critics. Everybody seems to love her.
She is, but I don't understand her. I think she's pretty crackers, to be honest, and I'm not sure if that's the image they want to get across. But as I say, she only occupies a small section in the novel, and that's just to tend Jonathan Harker. When she actually turned into a feminine Sherlock Holmes, which Mark Gatiss did Sherlock, I thought, whoa, where is this going? You know, it's really pulled the rug out from under us all.
Is that why you're not maybe fully sold on this? Because you know the story inside out, you know all the other versions, and therefore your expectations would have been a lot higher than mine? It
probably is, because I saw the trailer, and the first thing you look for when you see a trailer about Dracula is actually Dracula. And it looks fantastic. I've got to say that. In fact, I've put down on one comment that it looks a bit like Marlon Brando, dressed there, presiding over all events. And it does look fantastic, and I thought, well, this I've got to see. You know, whoever has put it together knows they're Dracula. And in the first episode, Dracula is in there. Well, he is the devil incarnate. There's no ifs or buts. He's not homosexual. He's not bisexual. He's not heterosexual. There is no sex to Dracula. That's the whole point about my books, The Romance of Dracula. There is none.
Stephen Moffat. Sorry to interrupt. Stephen Moffat was on this radio station earlier today, and he said that actually he wanted as much Dracula in this as possible. He said Dracula gets left out of lots of other versions, and he wanted Dracula to be in this as much as possible. Do you think he's nailed that bit?
He has nailed that bit, and, you know, I mean, all kudos to him, because Bram Stoker himself, once he gets past those first 4 chapters with Jonathan Harker, which I believe was an original short story in the Edgar Allan Poe mould, Dracula gets dropped by the wayside, you know, for what seems like an eternity, and Stoker wraps it all up with love-lorn letters from Mina to Jonathan and comedy relief characters coming in, and Dracula only comes in spasmodically to beef up the plot.
It's funny though, isn't it? I like the fact that there's some great one-liners in it.
It is. It's very funny. That's what caught me at first. It's got a really darkly comic tone that Bram Stoker would really have approved of.
So for all the problems with it, you'll be watching tonight, will you?
I will be watching it tonight. There's no problem. There's no ifs or buts.
Charles, we're going to have to leave it there. That music means we're coming up to the hour, unfortunately. Charles Butler, Dracula's #1 fan.
On digital radio,
FM,
medium wave,
and BBC Sound.